Hello, welcome back to the weekly podcast on the new updates about Sri Lanka and the world. So, to guide us through all the new updates, Mr. Viraj Henegedra is here with us. Hi, Mr. Viraj.
Hi Rahma.
So, yeah, let me start with the first update, which is not really about our country, but it might have an impact on our country as well. So, which is on the India Pakistan war impact to businesses. Will it cause economic instabilities and security risk, Mr. Viraj?
Yes, Rahma, that's a really good question because last couple of days we have seen even our neighbor countries, India and Pakistan, they are planning to have a war because both countries have declared statement and some of the countries have taken some of the actions even, right? And both countries are in the opinion that if somebody is coming for the fight, okay, we will be defeating, right? So the impact basically even for that particular country, for example, India. Now, when you look at the Indian share market, yesterday we have seen little bit drop, but again it has come up. But when you look at the Sri Lankan share market, it was down. The reason is we have a direct impact from these two countries. For example, most of the imports we are making from India and Pakistan, right? Especially red onion and those things we are bringing from that. If India has taken to block the water of the Indus River, what will happen to the Pakistan? Because that was the main issue. But so far they have given some indications, but they cannot do anything, right? So Pakistan also will be really, they will be definitely taking actions if they are trying to stop the water. And if that is happening, the entire agriculture production of the Pakistan will be an issue. So what will happen to us then? Again, the Sri Lanka and the other Asian countries are depending on those two countries, again will have an impact. So from one angle, I have seen that economic disruption might be there if the war is going to be continued. And the other one, geopolitically, Sri Lanka will have a major pressure. We are having a major pressure because we need to work with India as well as Pakistan. Now, I have seen that last 2 to 3 days before, even some of the terrorists who involved with this particular incident were trying to cross Sri Lanka because they were planning to go to Singapore. So at that time, what happened? Sri Lankan airport got stuck and they were trying to search. So what will happen then? Because of the two countries were fighting, but the impact is to Sri Lanka as well because they might be using our ports, right? A lot of things are there. So the security issue also will be there. So that's another point. And security risk, as I told you, and diplomatic opportunities also we are having. What are the opportunities we are having now? If these two countries are trying to fight, what will happen from the tourism sector? When you look at the Sri Lankan tourism details, majority of are coming from the India, right? So we have seen in the last couple of days, we have seen majority of are coming from India. So if the war is going to be continued, what will happen? So our tourism again will be reduced. Now we are having a target of 3 million, again that has an impact. And again, the people who are planning to visit to India and Pakistan will look at another location. So in another angle, we will be having another market as well, but we have to take it very seriously, and we have to have a better plan, right? Because we can't see only the opportunities. We have a risk, we have a lot of threats as well because of the security, and that is the impact that I have seen, especially from the Sri Lankan angle, Sri Lankan economic point of view. We have to be very careful when we are dealing with these two countries, especially for these couple of days.
Yeah, so we hope that the conflict will come to a peaceful resolution soon.
Yeah.
So the next update is Sri Lankan local council election was held on May 6, 2025. So what kind of an impact does it have on the business world, Mr. Viraj?
Yes, Rakma, as you said, the local council election was held on 6th, and as everybody expected, the current government, that is we call NPP, National People's Power, they were able to secure their position up to a certain extent, not everything, right? So when you really look at 94 local councils, they were able to win with the majority, but 260 odd amount other parties also got involved, but they don't have the majority. So which reflects that the government has to look at more works rather than just giving the statement, right? So that's actually a really good indicator, because even the central government and the other government is having a much power with the NPP, National People's Power, but even the oppositions also have come to a power up to a certain extent, which is really good for our country. Because why? Then even the local councils, they have a better control. If somebody is getting a proposal, so always we have to listen to the others. So I feel that's really good, and this is what a country should have. Because if any country is having a two-third of power, what will happen? They will bring all their proposals, and automatically those will be approved, and nobody can involve with that. So I think this is one of the good indicator. And another point is majority again taken by the existing government, and this government has proved the transparency, and they are not involving in frauds, right? So that kind of a good practices that they are always highlighting. So if that is going to be continued in Sri Lanka, again it's good for the businessman, because even the SME sector has to deal with the local council, not with the central government. They are dealing with the local, which we call Pradeshya Sabha, right? So when you want to deal with them, the proper people should be there. So I think with this mechanism, if the correct people we have voted and selected, then it will be really positively impact to Sri Lankan SME businesses. So that is what I feel from one angle. And the other one is regulatory environment and the taxation part, because all these governments now they want to make the money first, and the policy should be established properly, because last couple of years even the local councils, they didn't have a proper control. That was controlled by commissioners, not the elected people like this, right? So these elected people have much responsibility than earlier. So I think with that it will be favorable impact to Sri Lankan SME sector, I hope.
Okay, great. So next, the World Bank Group President Ajay Banga had visited Sri Lanka on 7th May 2025, marking the first presidential visit to the country by a World Bank Group president in nearly 20 years. So can you let us know more on it, Mr. Viraj?
Yes, Rakma, as you mentioned, Mr. Ajay Banga, who was earlier CEO of the MasterCard, now he is the World Bank Group President, is visiting to Sri Lanka on today. So what will happen then? There are a lot of agreements that the Sri Lanka is having with the World Bank. So these are going to be discussed, especially the president will. This is actually the invitation of the president, and here in this visit he'll be focusing on job creation, boosting private investment, and driving an inclusive and sustainable economy recovery for the country. And yeah, those are the main challenges or the main items that they have included in this particular visit. I hope this is again positively impact to us. But as you can you remember that I told the Sri Lanka has to have a good relationship with India and Pakistan. Now the World Bank Group President, I'm not saying that he will be representing the India, but he is from India. So in one way, again they are giving indicators we have to have a good relationship with India, isn't it? So I think it in a way it also can be impact to us.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the visit marks a milestone as it is the first time nearly 2 decades that a World Bank Group president has visited Sri Lanka. So, as the final update, we heard that Sri Lanka and Vietnam forged stronger ties with landmark agreements. Can you elaborate more on this, Mr. Viraj?
Yes, Rakma, the president, Sri Lankan president Kumara Disanayaka visited Vietnam uh, because of the invitation from the Vietnam president. So what has happened there? We have seen even in the media. He participated for many events in Vietnam, and one of the main items that I have identified, one of the MOU was signed. Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnam and the Ministry of Industry of Entrepreneurship Development in Sri Lanka. That was taken place, and another MOU between Vietnam Academy of Agriculture Sciences and the Department of Agriculture of Sri Lanka on cooperation in agriculture. Apart from that, another MOU between Bandaranaike International Diplomatic Training Institute of Sri Lanka and Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam and yes, Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam. Yes, and in addition to that, Vietnam Trade Promotion Agency and the Sri Lankan Export Development Board, they also had an MOU. So these are really positive indicators from the Sri Lankan point of view, because because in Sri Lanka, when you look at our exports are mainly focusing on European countries. We have never focused on the other countries. So this is what countries should do. Now we have signed a lot of bilateral agreements with India and Singapore, but we haven't touched these markets so far. So I think this is really good initiative which Sri Lankan government has already agreed, and they have come to an MOU, memorandum of understanding, in order to develop our country, especially if they are focusing on these sectors. I think that will have a positive impact to our economy.
Yeah, so it is expected this enhanced cooperation will unlock significant market opportunities for both the countries. So, yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Viraj, for those updates. So,
Thank
that
you,
is
Rahma.
it for today. Stay tuned for more insights.